Hey guys, Shabbat Shalom. I'll give you guys just a moment and we'll go ahead and start. Alright, let's go ahead and bow our heads and pray. Yahuwah, we thank you for gathering us today in your great and holy name. I pray you send your spirit upon us today and guide this study in your Ruach. And we thank your son, Yahushua HaMashiach, for the Yeshua that we find in him. And I pray myself and all my brothers and sisters are found worthy to be covered in the blood of the Lamb. May his blood protect us from wrath and guard us in the hour of temptation. In Yahushua's name we pray. Amen. Alright. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome to Torah Truth Fellowship of Yahusha. I am your host, Brianna, and this is part 4 of Isaiah's message for the Remnant series. Thank you guys for understanding my little hiatus that I took last week, but I'm so happy to be back and speaking Yahuwah's truth. So the week before last, we discussed Isaiah's chapter 45 and 46, and this week we will be diving into chapters 47 and 48. These chapters pertain to the destruction and humiliation of Babylon, and some of this pertains to ancient Babylon, some of this refers to today's mystery Babylon. So without further ado, let's go ahead and begin. Give me just a second, you guys. Okay, let's go ahead and begin. So starting in Isaiah chapter 47, we're going to go ahead and go over lines 1 through 3. And this is going to be kind of long today, guys, so bear with me. Alright, Isaiah 47, 1 through 3. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babel. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Kasdim. For you shall be no more called tender and delicate. Take the millstones and grind meal. Uncover your locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Your nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, your shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet you as a man. So let's go ahead and stop, and I want to go over line 1. Let's read line 1 again. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babel. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Kasdim. For you shall no more be called tender and delicate. Really quick, I want to note, it says, O daughter of the Kasdim. The Kasdim are the people of Abraham's people, where Terach and Nahor lived, and we know Abraham's father followed false gods and worshipped teraphim. And he also served under Nimrod, Terach did. So now let's look at something that is said in Psalms 137, lines 5 through 8. It says, If I forget you, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget her cunning. If I do not remember you, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. If I prefer not Jerusalem above my chief joy, remember, O Yahuwah, the children of Edom, in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. O daughter of Babel, who are to be destroyed, happy shall he be, the reward that rewards you as you have served us. So this here is talking about the destruction of Mystery Babylon, which I'm actually going to talk about my change of heart and understanding of the truth on this subject a little bit later in this video. We'll talk about that. So let's look at something that's found in the book of Ezekiel. Ezekiel 36, 1 through 5. Also, son of Adam, prophesy unto the mountains of Yasharel, and say, Ye mountains of Yasharel, hear the word of Yahuwah. Thus says Adonai Yahuwah, because the enemy has said against you, Aha! Even the ancient high places are ours in possession. Therefore prophesy and say, Thus says Adonai Yahuwah, because they have made you desolate and swallowed you up on every side, that ye might be a possession unto the remnant of the heathen. And ye are taken up in the lips of talkers, and are an infamy of the people. Therefore, ye mountains of Yasharel, hear the word of Adonai Yahuwah. Thus says Adonai Yahuwah to the mountains, and to the hills, to the rivers, and to the valleys, and to the desolate wastes, and to the cities that are forsaken, which became a prey and derision to the remnant of the heathen that are round about. Therefore, thus says Adonai Yahweh, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the remnant of the heathen, and against all of Edom, which have appointed my land into their possession, with the joy of all their heart, with despiteful minds, to cast it out for a prey. So Ezekiel, he prophesied of the captivity that Babylon would bring. The enemy was basically saying, aha, we own you. We own ancient Israel, and all the high places are ours. And the northern kingdom at this time was in Sumeria, and the high places of the southern kingdom was in Judah. So now let's take a look again at the regathering of Israel. This is found in Ezekiel 36, lines 24 through 36. No. Okay. For I will take you from among the heathen and gather you out of all the countries, and will bring you into your own land. Then I will sprinkle clean water upon you. Ye shall be clean. From all your filthiness and from all your idols will I cleanse you. A new heart also will I give you, and a new ruach will I put within you. And I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you a heart of flesh. And I will put my ruach within you, and cause you to walk in my statutes, and ye shall guard my judgments and do them. And ye shall dwell in the land that I gave to your fathers, and ye shall be my people, and I will be your Elohim. And I will also save you from all your uncleanness, and I will call for the grain, and will increase it, and will lay no famine upon you. And I will multiply the fruit of the tree, and the increase of the field, that ye shall receive no more reproach of famine among the heathen, that ye shall remember your own evil ways and your doings that were not good, and shall loathe yourselves in your own sight for your iniquities and for your abominations. Not for your sakes do I this, says Adonai Yahweh. Be it known unto you. Be ashamed and confounded for your own ways, O house of Yasharel. Thus says Adonai Yahweh, in the day that I shall have cleansed you from all your iniquities, I will also cause you to dwell in the cities, and the waste shall be built, and the desolate shall be tilled, whereas it lay desolate in the sight of all that pass by. And they shall say, that land was desolate, is become like the Garden of Eden. And the waste and the desolate and ruined cities become fenced and inhabited. Then the heathen that are left round about you shall know that I, Yahweh, build the ruined places, and plant that was desolate. I, Yahweh, have spoken it, and I will do it. So, he said he will take us from among the heathen and give us our own land. And he will cleanse us from our filthiness and idolatry. And he will give us a new heart and a new spirit. And not only will this cause us to guard his judgments, but it will cause us to do them. This is a foreshadow of what the Ruach HaKodesh does for us right now. When we are granted access to the Ruach HaKodesh, it brings us convictions and revelations and so much wisdom. And when we get our new spiritual bodies, they will be incorruptible, of the same spirit as Yahweh. One body and one spirit. Where was I? Give me a minute, you guys. I just lost my spot. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Then it says we will remember our evil ways and we will loathe ourselves. And Yahweh says that he does not do this for our sake, to let that be known. And this is something that we see him say more than one time. We see this a lot throughout Scripture, but he doesn't do it for our sake. He says he does it for his name's sake, Yahuwah Sevaoth. And the land will bloom and the cities will be built back up, and it will be like the Garden of Eden. And the heathen that are left, they will know that Yahweh did these things. A lot of people try to argue that these things were fulfilled in 1948 when the state of Israel was established. But that isn't so. Modern day Edomites, which are the children of the Pharisees, have taken over and they have mixed with the nations. They signed the League of Nations. They're part of the United Nations. World War I and World War II was all about setting up the nation of Israel as a state global power. pretty much. And we're going to get more into that in just a minute. So let's move on to line 2 in Isaiah. Isaiah 47:2, it says, take the millstones and grind meal, uncover your locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. So it says to grind the millstones. So grinding millstones, that was a servant's job. So here it is talking about a place or a land that was elevated and bringing it down, making it bare. And I want to read something from Nahum chapter 3, lines 1 through 10. It says, woe to the bloody city. It is full of lies and robbery. The prey departs not. The noise of a whip and the noise of the rattling of the wheels and the prancing horses and of the jumping chariots. The horseman lifts up both bright sword and glittering spear, and there is a multitude of slain and a great number of carcasses, and there is none end of their corpses, and they stumble upon their corpses because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcrafts that sells nations through her whoredoms and families through her witchcrafts. Behold, I am against you, says Yahweh Sabaoth, and I will discover your skirts upon your face, and I will show the nations your nakedness, and the kingdoms your shame, and I will cast abominable filth upon you, and make you vile, and will set you as a gazing stock. And it shall come to pass that all they that look upon you shall flee from you, and say, Nineveh is laid waste. Who will bemoan her? When shall I seek comforters for you? Are you better than the populace? No, that was situate among the rivers, that had the waters round about it, and whose rampart was the sea, and her wall was from the sea. Cush and Mizraim were her strength, and it was infinite. Put and Luvim were her helpers, yet was she carried away. She went into captivity. Her young children also were dashed into pieces at the top of all the streets, and they cast her lots for her honorable men, and all her great men were bound in chains. So I want you to look at where it says Nineveh is laid waste. Nineveh is nowhere near anything like this. So if you go off of the location of Nineveh, none of this actually makes sense. And that's because it's not talking about Nineveh. It is talking about Israel. Nineveh was a great kingdom that rose to power before Babylon. They were the largest city for centuries, and they worshipped false gods, and they were part of the Assyrian kingdom. It was this great kingdom that waxed exceedingly great, and then it came crashing down, and then Babylon rose to power after Nineveh. And now it is talking about Israel. These things that happen to these great cities, it's going to happen to Israel. Okay? All right, now to line 3. Isaiah 47:3 says, your nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, your shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet you as a man. So we can get a better understanding of this from some other things that are found in the book of Isaiah. If we look at Isaiah chapter 20, lines 3 through 6, it says, and Yahweh said, like as my servant Yeshayahu, Isaiah, has walked naked and barefoot 3 years for a sign and wonder upon Mitzrayim and upon Cush, so shall the kings of Ashur lead away the Mitzrayim prisoners and the Cushim captives, young and old, naked and barefoot, even with their buttocks uncovered, to the shame of Mitzrayim. And they shall be afraid and ashamed of Cush their expectation, and of Mitzrayim their glory. And the inhabitant of this isle shall say in that day, behold, such is our expectation, whether we flee for help to be delivered from the king of Ashur, and how shall we escape? And let's look at another in Isaiah 30, lines 1 through 3. It says, woe to the rebellious children, says Yahweh, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my ruach, that they may add sin to sin, that walk to go down to Mitzrayim, and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Mitzrayim. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Mitzrayim your confusion. So this is going to tie into what I'm going to read next as well. It says, woe to those who take counsel, but not of Yahweh. Woe to those who cover themselves, but not with the Ruach HaKodesh. Woe to those who were looking to Pharaoh in Egypt to save them from Babylon's captivity, but not to Yahweh. Let's look at Isaiah 36, lines 4 through 6. What the? Hold on, you guys. What is going on? Hold on, guys. My phone is freaking out. What is going on? Oh my goodness. Alright, I think I'm going to have to restart my phone. You guys are going to have to give me just a moment. Hold on. Technical difficulties. Alright, while we're having these technical difficulties, let's go ahead and say a really quick prayer so whatever evil spirit this is departs. Oh, give me a minute, guys. Alright, let's say a really quick prayer, guys. Yahweh, I humbly come before you and I ask that whatever spirit this is, whatever entity of Satan this is, I rebuke it in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. And I pray that your spirit comes over this video and that we have no more interferences. We praise you, the Most High, Yahweh, and in Yahushua's name we pray. Amen. Alright, let's see if I can get this working now, guys. Give me just a second, I had to restart it. Takes a second to turn back on. Okay, let's see. Find where we were. We're on Isaiah 36. Yeah, Rav Shekah. Okay. Alright, Isaiah 36, lines 4 through 6. And Rav Shekah said unto them, say ye now to Ezekiel, thus says the great king, the king of Ashur, what confidence is this wherein you trust? I say, say you, but they are vain words. I have counsel and strength for war. Now on whom do you trust, that you rebel against me? Lo, you trust in the staff of this broken reed on Mitzrayim, whereon if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh, king of Mitzrayim, to all that trust in him. So Rav Shekah, he was a spokesperson for Assyria. And he was trying to get the people all riled up and scared because their king, Hezekiah, he had made an alliance with Egypt. And he was trusting in Egypt to save them from Babylon. And so then Rav Shekah, he asks, he's like, why are you guys trusting in Pharaoh? Why are you not trusting in Yahweh? And he compares trusting in Pharaoh as to trusting in a broken reed. It will pierce your hand. Oh, excuse me, guys. I'm still trying to get over this chest congestion. Alright, so now we're on to Isaiah 47, lines 4 through 6. Isaiah 47, 4 through 6. As for our Redeemer, Yahweh Sebaoth is his name, the Holy One. What is going on here? What in the world? What is going on? It is not letting me read. Hold on. What? Give me a minute, you guys. Alright, sorry guys. Let's start over with that. Isaiah 47, 4 through 6. As for our Redeemer, Yahweh Sebaoth is his name, the Holy One of Yasharel. Sit silent and get you into darkness, O daughter of the Kassadim, for you shall no more be called Lady of Kingdoms. I was wroth with my people. I have polluted my inheritance and given them into your hand, and you have showed them no mercy. Upon the ancient you have very heavily laid your yoke. So it says Yahweh Sevaoth is his name. His name matters, you guys. His name matters. And that is something that we keep seeing over and over and over again. Sit silent and get into darkness, the daughter of the Chassidim. Now remember, I told you, the Chassidim were the people of Ur, Abraham's people. They were a product of Babylon. Abraham's father served Nimrod personally. And upon the ancient have you very heavily laid your yoke. There is nothing new under the sun, people. This bondage from Babylon, it goes all the way back to the Ancient of Days, all the way back to the fall of man. So let's move on to lines 7 through 9 now. Isaiah 47, 7 through 9. And you say, I shall be a lady forever, so that you did not lay these things to your heart, neither did you remember the latter end of it. Therefore, hear now this, that you are given to pleasures that dwell carelessly, that say in your heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. But these two things shall come to you in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon you in their perfection, for the multitude of your sorceries, for the great abundance of your enchantments. And I want to go ahead and go over line 7 really quick. Let's read that again. It says, and you said, I shall be a lady forever, so that you did not lay these things to your heart, neither did you remember the latter end of it. So now we're going to read something from the text of Susanna. Susanna is a text that was removed. It was included in your 1611 King James Bible. It was in the Geneva Bible. It was in most early forms of the English Bible. And it was later removed in the 1800s, and it was put with the apocryphal books. So before I give any more details about this book, let's go ahead and read the scripture. This is from Susanna chapter 1, line 5. The same year we're appointed two judges, such as Yahweh spoke of. That wickedness came from Babel, from ancient judges who seemed to govern the people. So, as you can very clearly see why this text was removed, because it exposed the Pharisees and the Sadducees for all the corruption that they taught people, the corruption that they brought with them from Babylon. The book of Susanna was originally included in the book of Daniel. And the book of Daniel was originally comprised of 4 books. The book of Daniel, the Song of 3 Young Men, or the Prayer of Azariah, as it's called, Susanna, and Bel and the Dragon. The other 3 were all taken out for a lot of reasons. For starters, it points the finger of blame to the elders that became like the Pharisees and the Sadducees. So the leaders who came forth out of Babylon's captivity, they had become wicked and polluted and corrupt, and the iniquity came from them. So much false doctrine and Satanism has came out of Babylon, and then they started mixing it into Judaism, and this is what dominates the nation of Israel right now. A quick Google search will show you that the main religion in Israel is Rabbinic Judaism. Well, let's look at the definition of what Rabbinic Judaism is. Rabbinic Judaism, also called Rabbinism or Judaism with the espousement of the Rabbinites, has been the mainstream form of Judaism since the 6th century BCE, after the codification of the Babylonian Talmud. And they elevate the Talmud over the Torah. Yes, you heard that correctly. The Babylonian Talmud. And the Talmud is basically a book where the rabbis have taken all the scriptures and all the Torah, and they have given their own man-made interpretation on it. And in this book, they call our Messiah, Yahusha, they call him a sinner. And they do not acknowledge him as the one and only son of the living Elohim. They called him nothing more than a prophet. And the Talmud is held sacred. You aren't even allowed to start learning the Torah in Rabbinic Judaism until after you learn the Talmud first, because they want you to learn their interpretations of the scriptures first. They are the children of the Pharisees. And they are the ones who have truly kept Babylon alive. Everyone else, like Rome and America, they are simply daughters. Israel is the mother of harlots, the mother of abominations. All right, let's talk about line 8. Therefore, hear Hear now this, that you were given to pleasure, that dwell carelessly, that say in your heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. This is the nation of Israel and her corrupt leaders. Let's look at Revelation 18, lines 7 through 8. How much she has glorified herself and lived deliciously. So much torment and sorrow give her. For she says in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Therefore her plague shall come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is Yahweh Elohim who judges her. Now let's look at Zephaniah chapter 2, line 15. This is the rejoicing city that dwelt carelessly, that said in her heart, I am, and there is none beside me. How is she become a desolation, a place for beasts to lie down in? Everyone that passes by her shall hiss and wag his hand. And in Zephaniah 3, line 1 through 4, woe to her that is filthy and polluted, to the oppressing city. She obeyed not the voice. She received not correction. She trusted not in Yahweh. She drew not near to her Elohim. Her princes within her are roaring lions. Her judges are evening wolves. They gnaw at the bones till the morrow. Her prophets are light and treacherous persons. Her priests have polluted the sanctuary and have done violence to the Torah. And let's look at something that our Messiah said in Luke 21, lines 20 through 22. And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Then let them which are in Yahud flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. And I'd like to note how it says that all things which are written may be fulfilled. All these things that are written have not been fulfilled yet. And trust me, we will certainly know when they are. All right, now we are on to chapter 47, lines 10 through 12. Isaiah 47, lines 10 through 12. For you have trusted in your wickedness. You have said, none sees me. Your wisdom and your knowledge, it has perverted you. And you have said in your heart, I am, and none else beside me. Therefore evil shall come upon you. You shall not know from whence it rises, and mischief shall fall upon you, and you shall not be able to put it off. And desolation shall come upon you suddenly, which you shall not know. Stand now with your enchantments, and with the multitude of your sorceries, wherein you have labored from your youth. If so be, you shall be able to profit. If so be, you may prevail. Let's go over line 10 again. It says, for you have trusted in your wickedness. You have said, none sees me. Your wisdom and your knowledge, it has perverted you. And you have said in your heart, I am, and none else beside me. Oh, it is really hot today. So the nations, this is the nations. They say no one sees them, meaning they think Yahweh isn't real and he doesn't see all the evil things that they're doing and their idolatries. They think that they're hiding what they're doing. And really quick, I was going to read it, but y'all, it is so hot and I am dying. So I'm not going to read it now, but I encourage you to go ahead and read Ezekiel chapter 8 and chapter 9. It talks about the people who think that they're hiding their deeds from Yahweh and that he doesn't see them. I encourage you to go read that. Ezekiel chapter 8 and Ezekiel chapter 9. These two chapters somewhat elaborate on this. The whole book of Ezekiel, like as a whole, speaks on this issue. Basically, evil's going to fall upon you, and mischief and desolation shall come suddenly. And let's look at line 12. It says, stand now with your enchantments and with the multitude of your sorceries, wherein you have labored from your youth. If so be, you shall be able to profit. If so be, you may prevail. This is the same thing that happened to Pharaoh in Egypt when Moses and Aaron came before him. Pharaoh called all of his sorcerers and wise men to come before him and to show Moses and Aaron how great he thought his magic was. Or even in Joseph's time, when Pharaoh's sorcerers and wise men, they couldn't interpret Pharaoh's dream about the famine. And every time Moses smote Egypt with another plague, Pharaoh sent out his sorcerers and his wise men to try and get rid of it, and none of their magic worked because Satan's magic doesn't work against Yahweh. Now let's go ahead and move on. I was going to find that in the book of Exodus for you, but like I said, it is so hot out here. I mean, it is so hot. It's like over 100 degrees out here right now. I'm dying. So for my sake, I'm not going to read this, but I recommend just reading the entire book of Exodus. The entire book of Exodus is such a great book. It is hands down my favorite book out of the 5 books in the Torah. I love the book of Exodus. I love the story. I love all the foreshadowing and the clues and answers you can find in this book. Book of Exodus is great. I really recommend reading it. Alright, now we are on to lines 13 through 15, and then we will get into chapter 48, which we will go through that pretty quickly. Alright, Isaiah 13 through 15. You are wearied in the multitude of your counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save you from these things that shall come upon you. Behold, they shall be as stubble, the fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm at, nor a fire to sit before. Thus shall they be unto you, with whom you have labored, even your merchants from your youth. They shall wander, everyone to his quarter, and none shall save you. So these last 3 lines in chapter 47, we're actually going to discuss these as a whole because they all go together. And the reference I'm going to try and use to make it make more sense, it goes with this too. So we need all 3 lines. Give me a second. Airplane. Alright, so I want to take a look at something said in Galatians chapter 4, line 25 through 28. For this Hagar is Mount Sinai in Arav and answers to the present Jerusalem, for she is in bondage among her children. But Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all. For it is written, Rejoice, you barren that bear not. Break forth and cry, you that travail not. For the desolate has many more children than she which has a man. Now we, brethren, as Yitzhak was, are the children of the promise. So this right here confirms that all the other things that we just previously talked about have not been fulfilled yet. And this is what happens when you go and you try to fulfill Yahweh's promise on your own, thinking that he is slow to fulfill, but he isn't. So Hagar on Mount Sinai, it was a physical attempt at New Jerusalem. But the Jerusalem above is free, and this is the New Jerusalem, the one that is above us. The one where we get those new hearts and new spirits, where we put off the mortal and we put on the immortal. The New Jerusalem isn't here yet. Therefore, these things have not been fulfilled yet. So then it says that we, brethren, as Isaac was, are children of the promise. We are heirs of the promise, of the covenant, you guys. And this was Paul talking to the Galatians in Greece. This was Paul teaching the Galatians Torah. Let's look at it like this. So Abraham and Sarah, they were promised a child. But Sarah, she remained barren. So Sarah thought, well, maybe this will be fulfilled through my handmaid, Hagar. So she told Abraham, go in onto her, and they conceived a child, who ended up being a son of the sword and not the chosen heir, because it was the physical, earthly attempt to fulfill what Yahweh had already promised them. It's not up to us to decide what gets fulfilled and when. That is Yahweh's job alone. He decides when things get fulfilled. It is all on his timing. And I want to compare what we just read in Galatians with something that is found in Isaiah. This is what Paul was referencing to. It says in Isaiah 54:1, Sing, O barren, that you did not bear. Break forth into singing and cry aloud, that you did not travail with child. For more are the children of the desolate than the children among the married women, says Yahweh. There are more children of the desolate than of the married woman. The land of Israel is going to fall desolate. The children of this land, the physical Jerusalem, are many. And this is talking about the children of the physical world right now. The children of the married woman is those who make it into New Jerusalem, the spiritual Jerusalem. And that has not been fulfilled yet. So let's take a look at Revelation 14:8. And there followed another angel, saying, Babel is fallen, that great city, because she made all the nations drink the wine of the wrath of her fornication. So I want you to keep that part in mind, that great city. And I also want you to keep in mind the woman. So keep in mind that great city and the woman, because they are interchangeable, and we will see that. Now let's look at Revelation chapter 16, and we are going to begin to confirm that physical Jerusalem is Mystery Babylon. Revelation 16:19. And the great city was divided into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations fell, and great Babel came into remembrance before Elohim, and to give unto her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. And again in Revelation 18:10, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, the great city Babel, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is your judgment come. And then Revelation 18:16, and saying, Alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. Now, if you were to take this one verse right here, Revelation 18:16, if you were to just take this one verse and make a doctrine out of it. Oh, crap. Oh, hold on, guys. Dang it, I lost my spot. Alright. Where was I? Alright, yeah, if you were to take this one verse right here and make a doctrine out of it, we could draw our conclusions here that the Vatican is Mystery Babylon. Like I once did myself. I did really very much believe that the Vatican was Mystery Babylon. But there is so much more to it, brothers and sisters. And once I started asking myself some questions and looking into it myself, I found out that I was wrong. And don't get me wrong, the Vatican is definitely part of Babylon, a daughter, but Jerusalem is Mystery Babylon, the mother of harlots. Brother Adam from Parable of the Vineyard, he actually has a great video explaining all this stuff, and I will link it below for you guys. And we also find Mystery Babylon revealed in Revelation. In Revelation 11:8, it says, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Mitzrayim, where also our Messiah was crucified, our Yah was crucified. Oh, hold on, guys, I'm dying. All right, sorry. Whew, I just splashed some water on me. It's hot. Okay, so yeah, it says where our Messiah was crucified, their bodies will lie in the street of that great city. And here we see it again, that great city, which is spiritually called Sodom in Egypt, where our Yah, Yahushua HaMashiach, was crucified. And in the beginning of Isaiah, is it Isaiah? I can't remember if it's Isaiah or Ezekiel. He refers to Jerusalem as Sodom and Egypt, where our Yah, Yahushua HaMashiach, was crucified. Yeah, here we go. In Isaiah chapter 1, he refers to Jerusalem as Sodom and Egypt. And where is this great city? It's where our Messiah was crucified. And where was our Messiah crucified? He was crucified in Jerusalem. That is why the fury is coming to Jerusalem. Let's look at Ezekiel 22, line 19 through 22. Therefore, thus says Adonai Yahuwah, because ye are all become dross, behold, therefore I will gather you into the midst of Jerusalem, as they gather silver and brass and iron and lead and tin into the midst of the furnace, to blow fire upon it, to melt it. So will I gather you in my anger and in my fury, and I will leave you there and melt you. Yea, I will gather you, and blow upon you the fire of my wrath, and ye shall be melted in the midst thereof. As silver is melted in the midst of the furnace, so shall ye be melted in the midst thereof. And ye shall know that I, Yahweh, have poured my fury out upon you. Idolatry. It's because of idolatry. As you gather the silver and brass and iron and lead and tin to melt in the fire and make your molten images, so Yahweh is going to gather you and melt you in his fury. All right, now we are on to chapter 48. We're going to try and make this pretty brief because I'm dying, you guys. It is very hot. Oh, I'm so ready for the summer to be over. Okay, so let's read line 1 through 4, chapter 48, line 1 through 4. Hear ye this, O house of Yaakov, which are called by the name of Yasharel, and are come forth out of the waters of Yehuda, which swear by the name of Yahuwah, and make mention of the Elohim of Yasharel, but not in truth, nor in righteousness. For they call themselves of the holy city, and stay themselves upon upon the Elohai of Yasharel. Yahweh Sabaoth is his name. I have declared the former things from the beginning, and they went forth out of my mouth, and I showed them. I did them suddenly, and they came to pass. Because I knew that you are obstinate, and your neck is as iron sinew, and your brow brass. Give me just a minute. Alright, guys. Where were we? Okay, let's go over line 1. It says, Hear ye this, O house of Jacob, which are called by the name of Yasharel, and are come forth out of the waters of Yehuda, which swear by the name of Yahweh, and make mention of the Elohim of Yasharel, but not in truth, nor in righteousness. So it says, Hear this, house of Jacob, which are called by the name of Israel, and swear by the name of Yahweh. And they make mention of Yahweh, but not in truth or in righteousness. So what is Yahweh's truth and his righteousness? Well, Psalm 119, 142. Your righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and your Torah is the truth. And what did Yahusha say? In John 14:6, Yahusha said unto them, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes unto the Father but by me. Yahusha is the way, the truth, and the life, because he is the Word made flesh. He is the Torah. He kept the Torah, and he taught the Torah. And let's look at John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Elohim, and Elohim was the Word. The Word has been with him since the beginning, and the Son has been concealed in heaven since the beginning. And I want to show you guys something from the book of Enoch. This is Enoch 99:10, but in the Sefer, which I use, it is Enoch 110. Now then, bring gifts of salutation to the rain, that not being withheld it may descend upon you, and to the dew, if it is received from you gold and silver. But when the frost, snow, cold, and every snowy wind, and every suffering belonging to them fall upon you, in those days will you be utterly incapable of standing before them. It says, when all these sufferings fall upon you. In Enoch, he was talking about the end times remnant here. The book of Enoch is very prophetic for the end times remnant. And we talked about this next verse in my last video that I made, and we're going to talk about it again, and it shows us why all this happened in the first place. Deuteronomy chapter 30, line 1 through 3. Says, It shall come to pass when all these things are come upon you, the blessing and the curse which I have set before you, and you shall call them to mind among the nations, whither Yahweh Elohika has driven you, and you shall return unto Yahweh Elohika, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command you this day, and your children with all your heart and with all your soul. Then Yahweh Elohika will turn your captivity and have compassion on you, and will return and gather you from all the nations whither Yahweh Elohika has scattered you. Now let's look at lines 2 and 3. For they call themselves the holy city, and stay themselves upon the Elohai of Yasharel. Yahweh Sabaoth is his name. I have declared the former things from the beginning, and they went forth out of my mouth, and I showed them, and I did them suddenly, and they came to pass. So, they have called themselves the holy city, and they stay themselves on Yahweh Sabaoth. Yahweh has declared the former from the beginning, and he's shown great signs and wonders, yet no one will hearken to his word. He has shown us time and time again his wonders, and no one listens. Line 4 says, Because I knew that you were obstinate, and your neck is an iron sinew, and your brow brass. Because we are a stiff-necked people, meaning hard-headed. We did what we wanted, which is why we have been afflicted so harshly, why the Israelites were afflicted so harshly, and why the world will be afflicted so harshly. So let's look at Isaiah 48, lines 5 through 8. I have even from the beginning declared it to you. Before it came to pass, I showed it to you. Lest you should say, My idol has done them, and my graven image and my molten image has commanded them. You have not heard. See all this, and will not ye declare it? I have showed new things from this time, even hidden things, and you did not know them. They are created now, and not from the beginning, even before the day when you heard them not. Lest you should say, Behold, I knew them. Yea, you heard not. Yea, you knew not. Yea, from the time that your ear was not open, for I knew that you would deal very treacherously, and were called a transgressor from the womb. In line 5, he's saying, Since the beginning I have shown you all of these things. And you say, My idol has done this. My statue of a god did this. It commanded this to happen. Line 6, he's saying, You know this. You have seen these things. And will you not declare it? Will you not tell the world about me? Are you scared to tell the world about me? Why will you not declare it? Why will you not tell the world that Yahweh Sabaoth lives? He's saying, I've shown you these hidden things, and you won't declare me. And now I want to take a look at line 8. It says, yea, you heard not, yea, you knew not, yea, from the time that your ear was not open, for I knew that you would deal very treacherously, and were called a transgressor from the womb. A transgressor from the womb. A lot of us are not born into the truth, and we have lived these worldly, sinful lives. So let's look at something else that's also said earlier in the book of Isaiah. In Isaiah 29, line 18 through 19, it says, and in that day shall the deaf hear the words of the Sefer, and the eyes of the blind shall see out of obscurity and out of darkness. The meek shall also increase their joy in Yahweh, and the poor men shall rejoice in the Holy One of Yasharel. And how do we do these things? Well, we can get an idea here in Proverbs 16, line 1 through 3. The preparations of the heart in man, and the answer of the tongue is from Yahweh. All the ways of a man are clean in his own eyes, but Yahweh weighs the Ruach, the spirit. Commit your works unto El Yahweh, and your thoughts shall be established. So commit your works, and your thoughts will be established. If you start trying to walk out his Torah, he will establish your thoughts so that you think about his Torah. He will establish his thoughts into your brain, but you have to commit yourself to him, commit yourself to his Torah. Pick up your Bible and start reading it cover to cover. Repent and commit, and don't wait to do it. Do it now, because time is running out, brothers and sisters. We need to be getting ready now. All right, let's look at lines 9 through 12. Isaiah 48, 9 through 12. For my name's sake, I told you, for my name's sake will I defer my anger, and for my praise will I refrain for you, that I cut you not off. Behold, I have refined you, but not with silver. I have chosen you in the furnace of affliction for my own sake. Even for my own sake will I do it. For how should my name be polluted? And I will not give my glory unto another. Hearken unto me, O Yaakov and Yasharel, my called. I am he. I am the first. I am also the last. Line 9 says, for his name's sake, he will defer his anger. For his name's sake, not for our sake. Now let's look at line 10. It says, behold, I have refined you, but not with silver. I have chosen you in the furnace of affliction. This is the road back to Yahweh. This is when he calls you. He calls you out of the furnace. He chooses you out of the furnace of your affliction, and he refines you and makes you new again. I want to read 1 Peter chapter 1, lines 6 through 8. Wherein ye greatly rejoice, though now for a season, if need be, ye are in heaviness through manifold temptations, that the trial of your faith, being much more precious than of gold that perishes, though it be tried with fire, might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Yahushua HaMashiach, whom having not seen ye love, in whom, though now ye see him not, yet believing ye rejoice with joy unspeakable, full of glory. The trial of your faith, it is more precious than gold. The trial of your faith, your obedience, your loyalty. Every trial and tribulation you go through is to test you and your love for Yahweh and your faith, your loyalty, your obedience. It is more precious than gold. Gold perishes. Faith does not. Rejoice and praise Yahweh. Let's look at some other references about being tried. The next one is found in 1 Peter chapter 4, lines 12 through 14. Beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you. But rejoice, inasmuch as ye are partakers of Mashiach's suffering, that when his glory shall be revealed, ye may be glad also with exceeding joy. If ye be reproached for the name of Mashiach, happy are ye, for the Ruach Elohim of glory rests upon you. On their part he is evil spoken of, but on your part he is glorified. So don't think of the fiery trials, the things that you suffer through in life as some strange thing that happens to only you. but be humble and deal with your sufferings as our Messiah did, Yahusha, like he did. We are partakers in his suffering. And when his glory is revealed, when New Jerusalem arrives, we will be exceeding with joy because your reward will be great. And if you are reproached in his name, be happy because it means the Ruach of Elohim rests upon you. On your part, he is glorified. Let's read Jeremiah 31, line 18 through 20. I have surely heard Ephraim bemoaning himself thus. You have chastised me, and I was chastised as a bullock unaccustomed to the yoke. Turn me, and I shall be turned. For you are Yahweh Elohai. Surely after that I was turned. I repented, and after that I was instructed. I smote upon my thigh. I was ashamed, yea, even confounded, because I did bear the reproach of my youth. Is Ephraim my dear son? Is he a pleasant child? For since I spoke against him, I do earnestly remember him still. Therefore my heart is troubled for him. I will surely have mercy upon him, says Yahweh. We must repent. Once we learn of our sin, we must turn our ways to his ways. And Hebrews has a really good way of putting it. He deals with us as a father deals with his sons. Let's read it. Hebrews 12, lines 7 through 13. If ye endure chastening, Elohim deals with you as with sons. For what son is he whom the Father chastens not? But if ye be without chastisement, whereof all are partakers, then are ye bastards and not sons? Furthermore, we have had fathers of our flesh which corrected us, and we gave them reverence. Shall we not much rather be in subjection unto the Father of the Ruachoth and live? For they truly for a few days chastened us after their own pleasure, but he did for our profit, that we might be partakers of his holiness. Now no chastening for the present seems to be joyous, but grievous. Nevertheless, afterward it yields the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby. Wherefore lift up the hands which hang down, and the feeble knees. Make straight the paths for your feet, lest that which is lame be turned out of the way, but let it rather be healed. He tests us to humble us, to make us peaceable for our own benefit, to see who truly serves him. And these next two verses I came across in the book of 2nd Baruch. I was reading it the other day, and I was finishing up, doing this study here, and came across these two verses, and I just had to add them in. So the book of 1st and 2nd Baruch are from the Septuagint, and they were in the 1611 King James Bible, and they are still found in the Roman Catholic Bible and some Hebrew Bibles. So the first one comes from 2nd Baruch, chapter 1, lines 1 through 4. It says, And it came to pass in the 25th year of Yekon-Yahu, I don't know how to say his name, the king of Yehuda, that the word of Yahweh came to Baruch, the son of Neriyahu. And he said to him, Have you seen all this? Have you seen all that this people are doing to me? That the evils which these two tribes which have remained have done are greater than those of the 10 tribes which were carried away captive. For the former tribes were forced by their kings to commit sin. But these two of themselves have been forcing and compelling their kings to commit sin. For this reason, behold, I bring evil upon this city and upon the inhabitants. It shall be removed before me for a time, and I will scatter this people among the other nations, and my people shall be chastened. And the time shall come when they will seek for the prosperity of their times. And the second one is found in 2nd Baruch chapter 4, line 1 through 6. It says, And Yahweh said unto me, This city shall be delivered up for a time, and the people shall be chastened during a time, and the world will not be given over to oblivion. Do you think that this city of which I said, On the palms of my hands have I graven you? This building now built in your midst is not that which is revealed with me, that which is prepared beforehand here from the time when I took counsel to make paradise. So now he's talking about New Jerusalem. when I took counsel to make paradise and showed it to Adam before he sinned. But when he transgressed the commandment, it was removed from him, as also paradise. And after these things I showed it to my servant Abraham by night among the portions of the victims. And again I showed it to Moshe on Mount Sinai, when I showed him the likeness of the tabernacle and all its vessels. And now behold, it is preserved with me, as also paradise. Go therefore and do as I command you. All right, we're getting close, you guys. We're almost done here. All right, where was I? All right, so now we are on to lines 13 through 16. Isaiah 48, lines 13 through 16 says, my hand also has laid the foundation of the earth, and my right hand has spanned the heavens. When I call unto them, they stand up together. All ye assemble yourselves and hear. Which among them has declared these things? Yahweh has loved him, and he will do his pleasure on Babel, and his arm shall be on the Kasdim. I, even I, have spoken it. Yea, I have called him. I have brought him, and he shall make his way prosperous. Come ye near unto me, and hear ye this. I have not spoken in secret from the beginning. And from the time that it was, there am I. And now Adonai Yahweh and his Ruach has sent me. These 4 verses are all speaking of Yahusha. His right hand spanned the heavens. Who is his right hand? Yahusha. Yahweh has loved him, and he will do all his pleasure on Babel. Yahweh has loved who? His son, Yahusha. And who is bringing destruction on Mystery Babylon? Yahusha. Yahweh brought him and paved the way for him. From the time Yahweh was, Yahusha was. The Word was. And his Ruach, Yahweh's Ruach, is who sent our Messiah. John 5:30, I can of my own self do nothing. As I hear, I judge, and my judgment is just, because I seek not my own will, but the will of the Father which has sent me. This was our Messiah speaking. He said this. Let's take a look at line 16 again. It says, come ye near unto me, hear ye this. I have not spoken in secret from the beginning. From the time that it was, there am I. And now Adonai Yahweh and his Ruach has sent me. It's the same thing being said here. All right, now we are on to line 17 through 20. Isaiah 48, lines 17 through 20. Thus says Yahweh, your Redeemer, the Holy One of Yasharel. I am Yahweh Elohika, which teaches you to profit, which leads you by the way that you should go. Oh, that you would hearken to my commandments. Then had your peace been as a river, and your righteousness as the waves of the sea. Your seed also had been as the sand, and the offspring of your generation like gravel thereof. His name should not have been cut off, nor destroyed from before me. Go ye forth of Babel, flee ye from the Kasdim. With the voice of singing declare ye, tell this, utter it, even to the end of the earth. Say ye, Yahweh has redeemed his servant Yaakov. So, let's go over line 17. Ugh, I'm dying, you guys. Says, thus says Yahweh, your Redeemer, the Holy One of Yasharel. I am Yahweh Elohika, which teaches you to profit, and which teaches you by the way that you should go. So did Messiah not come to show us the way? Is he not the way, the truth, and the life? It says, 1 John 2, 3 through 6. And hereby do we know that we know him, if we guard his commandments. He that says, I know him, and guards not his commandments, is a liar, and the truth is not in him. But whoso guards his word, in him truly is the love of Elohim perfected. Hereby we know that we are in him. He that says he abides in him ought himself also to walk, even as he walked. Also so to walk, even as he walked. So we know that we know him, our Messiah, when we guard his commandments. And he who says that I know him and doesn't guard his commandments is a liar, and the truth is not in him. If we abide in Yahushua HaMashiach, then we ought to walk as he walked. Yahushua never broke the Torah. He kept the Torah. He broke the Babylonian Talmud, the laws of the Pharisees, the same laws and traditions that he came and rebuked in the Gospels. The laws, he said, the Pharisees were using it to make the laws of Yahweh to no effect, because they held their laws and their traditions over the laws and the traditions of Yahweh. Line 18 says, Oh, that you had hearkened to my commandments. Then had your peace been as a river and your righteousness as the waves of the sea. If we had just listened and done his commandments, we could have just had peace. Line 19 holds some real significance for me, though. It says, your seed had also been as the sand, and the offspring of your generation like gravel thereof. His name should not have been cut off nor destroyed from before me. We've been talking about Yahusha this whole time. And then it says, his name should not have been cut off or destroyed. What did Yahusha say in John 5:43? I come in my Father's name, and ye receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him ye will receive. Jesus. They didn't accept Yahusha. They rejected Yahusha. They accepted Jesus. Let's look at something else that's said in Zephaniah 1-4. I will also stretch out my hand upon Yehuda and upon all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and I will cut off the remnant of Baal from this place, and the name of the Chemarim with the priests. He will stretch out his hand over Judah and over Jerusalem, and he will cut off the remnant of Baal. Let's get a definition of Baal. Strong's 1167 says that Baal is used to refer to a Phoenician deity, or really any heathen god. And it dates all the way back to the Canaanites. They were worshiping Baal all the way back in Canaan. And a quick Google search can also show you how it ties into Satan and demons as well. Zeus, Baal, Satan, they are all the same. All right, let's look at line 20. It says, go ye forth of Babel, flee ye from the Kassadim, with a voice of singing, declare ye, tell this, utter it even to the end of the earth. Say ye, Yahweh has redeemed his servant Jacob. So, flee from Babel, flee from the Kassadim. Remember, I told you these are the people of Abraham's people, where his father lived. Flee from there and declare Yahweh's word to the ends of the earth. Tell the good news that Yahweh has redeemed us, his servant Jacob. Jacob is another name for Israel. And we can compare this to Revelation 18:4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. Come out of her, my people. Come out of Babylon. Come out of her daughters. Don't partake of her sins, so you don't receive her plagues. And who is this coming for? Ezekiel 23:30. I will do these things unto you because you have gone whoring after the heathen, and because you are polluted with their idols. Those who have gone whoring after the heathen and her idolatry. All right, sorry guys. So yeah, it is those who have gone whoring after the heathen and her idolatry. Come out of religion, people. Read the scriptures for yourself and pray to Yahweh to guide you. Repent and ask for forgiveness. And now I want to read something from 2 Esdras, also called the 4th book of Ezra, or the 4th book of Ezra. So 2 Esdras chapter 2, line 34-41. And therefore I say unto you, O ye heathen, that hear and understand, look for your shepherd. Look for your shepherd. He shall give you everlasting rest, for he is nigh at hand, that shall come in the end of the world. Be ready to the reward of the kingdom, for the everlasting light shall shine upon you forevermore. Flee the shadow of this world. Receive the joyfulness of your glory. I testify my Savior openly. Oh, receive the gift that is given to you and be glad. Give thanks unto him that has led you to the heavenly kingdom. Arise and stand. Behold the number of those that be sealed in the feast of Yahweh, which are departed from the shadow of the world, and which have received the glorious garments of Yahweh. Take your number, O Sion, and shut up those of yours that are clothed in white, which have fulfilled the Torah of Yahweh. The number of your children whom you longed for is fulfilled. Beseech the power of Yahweh, that your people who have been called from the beginning may be hallowed. Our shepherd is Yahusha, our Savior, our rest, because he gives us his spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, so we can have help to uphold the Torah in the flesh, that we may be granted the mercy to be able to enter the gates into the heavenly kingdom, into the new Jerusalem. All right, guys, last 2 lines, Isaiah 48, lines 21 and 22. All right. And they thirsted not when he led them through the deserts, and he caused the waters to flow out of the rock for them. He clave the rock also, and the waters gushed out. There is no peace, says Yahweh, unto the wicked. So they thirsted not when he led them through the deserts, and he caused water to flow out of the rock. And we can compare this to when Moses led the Hebrews through the wilderness and they cried out being thirsty. And Yahweh told Moses to smite the rock on Mount Shorev and water would flow out of it. And you can Google this as well. This rock has been found in the exact location that it says it is. And there is evidence that water came out of this rock. So let's read the passage in Numbers. Numbers 20, lines 1 through 11. Then came the children of Yasharel, even the whole assembly, into the desert of Sin. And in the first month, the people abode in Kadesh, and Miriam died there. That was Moses and Aaron's sister. And she was buried there. And there was no water for the assembly, and they gathered themselves together against Moshe and against Aaron. And the people chode with Moshe and spoke, saying, Would to Elohim that we had died when our brethren died before Yahweh. And why have ye brought up the assembly of Yahweh into this wilderness, that we and our cattle should die there? And wherefore have ye made us to come up out of Mitzrayim to bring us into this evil place? It is no place of seed, or of figs, or of vines, or of pomegranates, neither is there any water to drink. And Moshe and Aaron went from the presence of the assembly unto the door of the tabernacle of the assembly, and they fell upon their faces, and the glory of Yahweh appeared unto them. And Yahweh spoke unto Moshe, saying, Take the rod, and gather the assembly together, you and Aaron your brother, and speak ye unto the rock before their eyes, and it shall give forth his water, and you shall bring forth to them water out of the rock. And so shall you give the assembly and their beasts drink. And Moshe took the rod from before Yahweh as he commanded him. And Moshe and Aaron gathered the assembly together before the rock, and he said unto them, Hear now, ye rebels, we must fetch you water out of the must we fetch you water out of this rock? And Moshe lifted up his hand, and with his rod he smote the rock twice, and water came out abundantly, and the assembly drank, and their beasts also. So this was a foreshadow of things to come. What has happened before will happen again. There is nothing new under the sun, you guys. When we are led back through the wilderness on our second Exodus journey, these things will happen again. Water will flow from rocks. The desert will bloom, and the earth will know that it is because of Yahweh Sabaoth. Okay, guys, so that is it for today. Don't forget to check out my Facebook group where you guys can keep up with me day to day and truly begin learning all about my ministry. I'm doing some cool things on there, making like some guides and stuff for you guys to like really break down what it is that I teach and what I'm trying to get out there to you guys. So let's go ahead and close this up with a prayer, you guys. Yahweh, thank you so much for choosing me to be a servant of yours, and thank you for allowing me to speak on your truth. And please send your spirit upon my viewers today. Open their spiritual eyes and ears, and I pray you wake up your remnant. I pray, Yahweh, that we are found worthy to be covered in the blood of the Lamb. We praise you, the Most High, for this incredible gift of redemption that we receive through Yahushua HaMashiach. And we thank you. In Yahushua's name we pray. Amen. Alright guys, thank you so much. If you are staying with me for the Torah portion, I will see you there. If not, I will see you guys next week. Enjoy the rest of your Shabbat, and Shalom.